Give me just a second. I'll be happy to get one for you. All right, give me just a second and we'll get started.
I just signed up for fingerprints. You know, I have everybody else. She's saying that's the yeah. Safe. Oh, it's not safe. I probably just written it down. Okay, so I'm just and then say, I got your number. Thank you. I just put everybody's and I'm not gonna send everyone. Cause I want to get this one. On Monday when you like all get behind. But I'm changing my schedule back to the original thing on. Back to 8 or 8 now.
We ever need tips or anything.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna forget. I'm trying to get my test date put on, so
I
I'm
know.
hoping it's
What?
for the exam.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like I put mine in, and they're like, oh, we need more information. I'm like, you got everything.
I just need,
Yeah, cause I sealed my record, is why. So
yeah.
they're like, okay, what did you seal? I'm like, I don't even know that.
Fingerprints.
It's sealed for a reason.
Exactly.
And then after that, you can make the.
You'll see what happens.
You'll pass, girl.
I'm not trying to get your exam date. It doesn't have to be a date.
All you have to do is the written, right?
No, I have to do the written and the skills.
Oh, I thought you passed it, okay.
Yeah, they're like, I have to redo it because it's been 3 years.
Yes, yeah. You'll pass though. You'll pass.
Yeah, I just hope they can hurry up with this. It's one background check and I'm like, all right, you got it, bring that.
Well, I did the 60 questions. Sort of. Thank you. One and two. And the other one is bring this. Miss Patti, the fingerprints were even cheaper than you said.
Oh, really? That's good. How much were they?
78.
Really?
Okay.
They were 88. I guess
That's
she
it?
said 88, but yeah, they're 78.
Where I was.
Cause I go Friday for that.
Very good.
I had to pay up front though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. You have to pay up front.
They have mine since it's been 3 years, the last year 5, but I redid mine thinking that was what the issue was. I paid $125. Oh, yeah.
Fingerprints?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, because everywhere else I went to, they're like, either they didn't have anything open or they weren't available or somebody's out in the office. So I thought somewhere quick.
Oh my gosh. Quick's not worth it then, girl. Don't do that.
Yeah. And then they get the email the same day. Oh, we just need more information so I'll be able to process your background check. And I'm like, I just paid $125. Why didn't you tell me this earlier?
Wow.
It's okay.
I did the one off for paper. The paper she gave us on how to sign up.
Yeah, I just looked around for live scan.
It's right off Spring Hill Drive too, by Beef O'Brady's. I didn't even know it was in that plaza, but it is.
Oh, I went to like kind of like Spring Hill Drive, but like Spring Hill Drive where that neighbor Walmart is.
Yes.
A little bit further down.
Like UPS.
Oh no, I went further down like that main road. Yeah, they have a place that's like in this trailer park area, or whatever, and they do directly for the FPLE. So I was like, it makes it worth it. You live scan, I did it. Yeah, I didn't know that place existed. Yeah, I didn't know it existed because it was back in the trailer park. So I had no clue. Now I know, but I will never go there again.
No.
$125.
No, that's crazy. I'm trying to dance over here. So you added them to the group chat?
Yeah, I had to make a new one because it wouldn't let me just add the old one, so I just made a new one with everything. But or at least the numbers I have.
So Shay just started some Bailey.
Save. Actually, I'm about to save everyone now.
Did you get just this? Just like, do you want to be added to our group chat? Sure. Okay, please 352-815. 7523.
That's great.
Okay. You know why I did not say? Yeah, I just saved your number in here too.
All right.
Just I'll get your number. Oh, perfect. Is it more bucket?
Good morning. How is everybody? Tired? Good morning, Melissa. Good morning, Button. Taught the course yesterday, but do I need the skills guide too if I live in California? Yeah, it would help you if you're doing the online course. The book is going to help you. The online course refers to the book throughout. So yes, the book would definitely be helpful for, that's the answer Button's question. All right. Happy graduation day. It goes fast, doesn't it? It does. The first day you sit here and you're all nervous and nobody's talking and you look like deer in headlights. And 4 short weeks later, here you are, ready to tackle the world. Do you guys feel like you learned something while you were here?
Absolutely.
Okay. With a little bit of practice, do you think you're ready for the test and your new career?
Yes.
All right. So my job then is done. Congratulations. Let me go ahead and get your scores for chapter 10. Jillian? Shaylin? Shaylin, do you have 9 for me as well?
9.
Thank you. Tara? Thank you. Bernice?
9, I got 100.
Okay.
10, I'm
1. Good. Okay. Gianna? Thank you. Bailey? Thank you. Patricia? Stephanie? Melanie? Thank you. Jessica? Jessica, do you have 8 and 9 for me? 95 on both? Okay. And Cynthia? JC? Rachel? Testing. All right. So I am transmitting. Good. All right. I think we're ready to go then. Any questions on chapter 10's homework? Any questions on that? Morning. And we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the things that chapter 10 covers, and I'm going to put a little different spin on it and kind of highlight some things that you really need to know when you're out there working in the workplace or trying to work in the workplace, because healthcare is a little bit different than other industries. So we need to talk about that. Okay. All right. So let me get. All right. So today is the last class. Please don't show up on Monday. I won't be here. Okay. You're done after today, but you will have this room to continue to practice from 1:30 until 4. We're going to talk about that a little bit later as well. We need to go over everything that you still have available. I'm not going to talk a lot today. I know, shocker. I have a little bit of information to give you. We are going to watch a video on renewal requirements. I'm going to show you where to get that video. We're going to talk about finding a job. We'll talk about interview tips and things like that. You'll turn in your books. We're going to take a class photo, and I'm going to give you your graduation folders, and we'll go through that. but there's not a whole lot of talking for me today. You will have practice time built into the class today as well. Okay, so let's get into this. All right, so let's go to page 122 in your book. I'm going to show you a video, but these are your notes for that video. You don't have to take notes. And this gets, how do I put this? This isn't a hard process. Once you take the test, you should never have to take the test again, as long as you're renewing on time. And something that I always tell people is protect your ability to make more money. That has to rank high in your budgeting priorities. Okay, if you're trying to decide between Starbucks and Renewal, Renewal is where your money goes, right? Protect your ability to make more money. A lot of students, this happens over and over again. They come, they sit through my class, they get certified, they go out to work, and something in life happens. Something. Either they have a baby or they decide to take some time off or whatever, and they don't renew. Well, if you don't renew, you get to do this whole process all over again. And as much as I like seeing you, I don't really want to see you back. Okay. I'll welcome you back to class, but I would really prefer that you keep your certification active because you never know when you're going to need it. This happened during the pandemic, right? Everything shut down. So people that were certified, all of a sudden, you know, once they're no longer certified because their certification lapsed, pandemic hits and they can't work. They can't work as a server. They can't work in retail. They can't work in any industry except healthcare. And here they are. They're begging for healthcare workers. They're offering $30 an hour. And you're standing on the sidelines going, I know how, but I'm not certified. And there was no testing. So a lot of people missed out on a lot of money because they didn't protect their ability to make more money. Does that make sense? So even if you don't think that this is for you, keep doing your renewals. There is a work requirement. You have to work at least once for pay in every renewal cycle. I'm going to tell you how to do that. So you don't have to work full time, just once every 2 years. Once every 2 years to meet that work requirement. If you do that, you protect your ability to continue working in the industry. Good. So I'm going to show you this video. It takes about 15 minutes. This video is on our website. That is really annoying me. Hold on a second. This video is on our website. Okay, that's better. It just didn't look right. This video is on our website for your CNA. For your CNA.com under after certification. Under after certification. So you can go back and watch this video anytime you want to. Sorry, guys, I gotta get set back up. Oh, really? Now I'm missing. Hold on, technical difficulties. My camera is not. Connecting. For those of you joining on YouTube, please hold. I'm having some issues. My program is not displaying here. And we're back. All right. Okay. So let me go ahead and play this video. Try to stay away from this one. But the problem is that you're not going to remember all this because your renewal isn't going to come for somewhere between 9 months and a year and a half. So you will be renewing somewhere in that time period, 9 months to a year and a half. So a year and a half from now, you're not going to remember anything that I'm saying today. This video is available on our website, foryourcna.com. It's the website right up here on the book under after certification. So you can go back and watch this. Renewal happens on May 31st of every year. So half of you will be odd year, half of you will be even year. But renewal happens May 31st. Starting May 1st, I start getting phone calls. My phone will ring about 100 times a day, starting May 1st. How do I renew? Where do I go? How much does it cost? What do I do? So I put a recording on my phone starting on May 1st. If you're asking about renewal, go watch this video because you won't remember. But that's why you have the notes in your book. Good morning. That's why you have the notes in your book, and it's why I've got it up on the website as well to remind you when the time comes. But I want you to have an overview of the process so you can kind of keep it in mind as you're making your choices. Okay. So let's hope this thing is stable enough to display when it gets bad. How to renew your Florida CNA certification. A guide for Florida CNAs. Brought to you by foryourcna.com. After you pass your state exam, you will receive your certification card in the mail. This card gives you valuable information. Take a moment to look it over. Check your name and address to make sure they are correct. Make a note of your CNA certification number. You will need this for employment and in-service credit. Your certification also comes with a convenient wallet card. Sign this and keep it in your wallet for handy proof of certification. But one of the most important things you need to pay attention to is the expiration date. It will be located near the top of the blue card in the grid. In Florida, CNAs are divided into two groups, odd year group and even year group.
Everyone in the even year group will renew their certifications in even years, such as 2018, 2020, 2022, and so on. Everyone in the odd year group will renew their certifications in odd years, such as 2017, 2019, etc. When you become certified, you will join one of these groups. But which group you end up in has nothing to do with when you test. You will be assigned a group when you receive your first certification, and you will remain in that group even if you allow your certification to lapse and you retest later in life. So how do you know when you will have to renew? It's easy. Check your expiration date. Every certification will expire on May 31st, either in an odd year or an even year. You need to know which group you are in. This is Jenny. Jenny became a CNA in 2017. She was placed into the even year group, so her expiration date will be in even years. She is joining a group already in progress, so her expiration date will be the same as theirs, regardless of when she became certified. Everyone in this group has the same expiration date. So, do I have to take the test again? No. As long as you meet all the requirements and renew on time, you will never have to take the state boards again. In order to renew your CNA certification in Florida, you must meet 2 requirements and pay a small fee. You must work at least once as a CNA for pay in this renewal cycle. You must complete the required number of in-service hours and pay the renewal fee. We will look at each of these in more detail in the following section. In Florida, every CNA is required to perform nursing-related services for monetary compensation within the renewal period in order to renew their certification. That means they have to get paid to do CNA skills. This rule is in effect to ensure that CNAs are using their skills so that they do not forget what they have learned. But there are no specific amount of hours that are required. But be careful. If you are not currently working in healthcare as a CNA, you may not be able to renew. But there is a way. Follow me to see Jim's story. This is Jim. Jim became certified as a CNA in 2016. Jim planned on going to work in the local hospital after he became certified. But Jim's uncle needed help at his bank and hired Jim. Jim likes his new job at the bank and he's doing very well there. He doesn't want to leave the bank, but he wants to keep his CNA certification active. He worked hard to get it. One of Jim's bank customers, a supervisor at the local home health agency, mentioned that they were looking for weekend CNAs to care for some of their new clients. Jim immediately filled out an application. He was hired and now works only one Saturday a month. Jim kept his regular job at the bank, but still met the requirements for renewal. Jim will keep one of his pay stubs for proof of the work requirement. Now let's look at the second requirement, in-services. In Florida, continuing education courses for CNAs are called in-services. You must complete a certain amount of continuing education every renewal period in order to renew your certification. You must complete continuing education in-services in certain topics every renewal period. These will include bloodborne pathogens and infection control, domestic violence, medical record documentation, resident rights, communication with cognitively impaired individuals, CPR skills, and medical error prevention and safety. So remember your expiration date on your certification. You need to compute how many months you will have that certification to determine how many hours you need. You will need 1 hour of in-service for every month that you are certified. First, locate the date that your certification was issued. Then locate your expiration date. Count the number of months that you will have your certification in this certification period. So if this certification issue date was January 1st, 2017, and the expiration date is May 31st, 2018, there are 17 months of certification. This certification will be valid for 17 months before renewal. So this certification will require 17 hours of in-service for renewal. Once you have done your required topics, the remainder of the hours can be any topic you choose. Choose topics that relate to your work environment or an environment that you want to work in. Topics you choose are entirely up to you, and the choices are endless. In-services can even help you if you want to change jobs. How? I'm glad you asked. Let's say that you currently work at a dementia unit. But then your friend tells you about a job opening at a local hospital. You've never worked in a mother-baby unit, but you really want this job. You can complete in-service topics related to this new opportunity to show motivation. This shows that although you lack experience, you are willing to learn. Supervisors like that. Now that you know how many in-service hours you need for renewal and what the required topics are, you need to find out how to get them. Most workplaces require an orientation session for new employees. Some employers will give you in-service credit for completing these modules during orientation. In-services can be awarded for watching videos, classroom instruction, formal group discussions, or even self-study at home. This is a great interview question. Do you offer in-service training hours? In-services can also be awarded for topics discussed in monthly workplace meetings. Sometimes hospitals and other community agencies will host continuing education opportunities. These are often advertised online or in community newspapers or bulletins. But for many CNAs, the easiest way to get your required in-services is online. There are many online in-service providers. Each is structured a bit differently, but most have some sort of free trial. Simply search for CNA In-Services Florida in your favorite search engine. If you are unsure if the provider you want to use is recognized by the Board of Nursing as an approved provider, you can check them out on CE Broker. Go to cebroker.com. Under course search, select your state and your profession, and then click the Begin Search bar. Now click the Providers tab to access a list of approved providers. You can also search for courses right on this website. So far, we've learned how to work at least once as a CNA for pay this renewal cycle, and we've learned how to complete the required number of in-service hours. So all that's left is to renew and pay the fee. The bottom of your certification card contains the information you will need to renew. Your specific renewal instructions are printed here. Once you access the website listed on your certification card, flhealthsource.gov, click on Renew a License. After logging in, follow the prompts, check off the requirements, and pay the fee. Renewal can take less than 15 minutes to complete, as long as all of your requirements are met. You will sign in with your username and password on your certification card. You do not have to send anything to the Board of Nursing to prove that you've met the requirements. You only need to send proof, which would consist of a pay stub and in-service certificates, if the Board of Nursing requests them from you. You must keep your proof for at least 4 years after renewal. Never, ever lie on your renewal. The Board of Nursing does periodic audits. The penalties for lying on your renewal are severe. Make sure you've met all the requirements before completing your renewal. You now have all the knowledge you need to renew your CNA certification in Florida. Remember to look at your new certification card for your next expiration date. Until then, happy caregiving. All right, any questions? No? Make sure that you've worked at least once. And the best way to do that is, if you're not going to work full time, is with a home health company. And there are dozens in our community, dozens. All right, so go to page 123. So this is a question I get asked a lot. What if I want to move out of state? What if I want to go somewhere else? I want to go somewhere else. I just don't know where. But what if I did? What if I wanted to go somewhere else? Well, in order to work as a CNA, you have to be certified in each state that you want to work in. So there is no single certification that covers everything. Be careful about this. Be really careful, because there's a lot of scams online. People will say, you know, there's a little known way of getting certified in all 50 states or 35 states or whatever. Send us money and we'll fill out the paperwork for you. There is no such certification. So be very careful. Now, there is something for nurses, RNs and LPNs. It's called the Nurse Licensure Compact, the NLC. And it's right now 35 states that are participating, and nurses they have to certify in their own state. So like here, I'm a Florida licensed RN. But if I wanted to work in any of these other states, I could get into the compact. It's a little bit of additional money, not much. And then that certifies me to work in all 35 of those states with no extra certification. Okay. But it doesn't apply to CNAs. Be very careful there. And a lot of scam artists are using that. You know, look, you can do this now. But it's a scam, because it does not apply to CNAs.
Travel CNAs.
Mhm.
Is that this thing where travel you have to get?
You still have to get certified in each state. Yes. Yes. So let's talk about travel, because this really is kind of the hot button issue of the day, right? Everybody wants to make more money, and travel offers the best hourly rate. You're going to get a lot of money if you travel, plus you get a stipend. I mean, it sounds like a win-win situation, and it can be, but there's some problems here. When you are a traveler, or what we call an agency CNA, you are going into a facility with no orientation. You are working with people who don't want you there, because you're making more money to do the same job that they are. So if you've got a heavy patient and you need assistance, they're not going to help you. If you have to get a patient out of bed with a Hoyer lift, and that requires 2 people, they're not going to help you. If you can't find the washcloths, they're not going to help you. So you have to understand that you are going into a facility with zero orientation. You don't know where to find anything, who to report to. It's not an easy position. You also don't know the patients. So, you know, you're looking at a report sheet that's giving you information, but it's very difficult. Remember that half of our job is observation and reporting, right? Well, if we don't know the patient and the patient is confused today, how do you know whether that's a change? right? So there's a problem with continuity of care. So places that use a lot of agency staff or travelers, their patients tend to suffer because there's no continuity of care. Nobody knows these people, right? And then you've got on the other side, you've got a lot of staff conflicts. Now you are agreeing, swearing that you are going to be at this place for the length of your contract. So if you get off on the wrong foot on week 1, you are still stuck there for 12 more weeks. And that can be excruciating. So it's not all bad. Okay. Facilities need agency because simply there's not enough CNAs in the community that want to work. So in order to take care of the patients, because they have to meet staffing minimums, they have to hire agency workers. So you fill a very valuable need, but it's probably not the best solution out there. Now, a lot of facilities are getting away from agency because of all these problems, and they're starting to hire and train within, which is a much better option. But agency or travel does exist. I don't recommend it for brand new CNAs. You guys are slow. You're supposed to be slow. You're brand new. This is the one time in your life that it's okay to be slow. But when you're agency, you don't have the benefit of being able to be slow. So you're probably not going to get good reviews, good performance reviews. So, and that's not really the way that you want to start off your career. And a lot of people, and I've seen it over the last 2 years, a lot of people hear, oh, wow, they're paying CNAs $35 an hour in it was Indiana, of all places, Indiana or Ohio. So, I mean, that I'll become a CNA. They take a 4-week class, they become a travel CNA, they go, and it all just falls apart. Yeah, they're making good money, but they weren't ready for the experience. So I truly do not recommend brand new CNAs to try to tackle that, because you're probably not going to be successful. And it's probably going to get you out of healthcare for the rest of your career. It'll be a bad experience for everybody involved. And that's really not the way you want to start. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. But let's say that you do want to move to New York, right? You got family in New York, Broadway's calling, whatever. And you decide you want to move to New York. So New York, you can call them up and say, hey, I'm a Florida CNA. I want to be a New York CNA. And they're going to go, cool. Fill out this form online, pay us a fee, do our background check. We'll give you a certification in our state simply because you've got one in Florida. Awesome. So you don't have to jump through any hoops other than filling out a form, doing their background check, paying a fee, because nothing is free, right? Now, if you want to move to Tennessee, they're going to say, hold up. We don't accept anybody else's anything. So if you want to be a CNA here, you've got to go through our training and testing. Well, that's something that you'd probably want to know before you move, right? So do your research first. And I've got a list on page 123 and 124 of all of the different CNA registries, the Board of Nursing contact information in each state. You want to start this process about 6 weeks before you move. It's not quick, guys. You can't go on there on Tuesday, fill out the form, and start working on Wednesday. It's not that quick. You need to give yourself some lead time here. Okay. All right, so let's get to the big one, finding a job. This is on page 125. Finding a job in healthcare is a little different than other industries. And it really is kind of important that we talk about this. So if you want to get a job somewhere, you probably go to one of those online jobs boards, right? There's a million of them out there. And you search, jobs in my area, or I need a job, or, whatever. You search to see what's out there. And there's going to be a ton of employment listings. But do you know that each one of those listings costs money? You guys know that? So I was hiring for my retail store not too long ago, a couple months ago, and I went onto those online job boards because I was going to post a job opening, right? Hey, you get to wear scrubs all day and help other people buy scrubs. It's not a bad gig, right? So I filled out all of the information and I get to the part that it's like, okay, now you have to pay to post this job opening. And it was going to cost me about $25 per applicant. Now, they estimated that I would have to go through about 300 applicants to get a good quality employee. So I don't know if you do math, but that was a lot of money. Now, if I always had an opening, right? Always, I'm always short staffed. I don't want to advertise on those job boards if I have to pay $25 an applicant. And you know that not all applicants are going to be good quality, right? So that's like an insane amount of money that I'm just throwing away. So a lot in healthcare, we're always short staffed, always. So that's a whole lot of money for nothing. So a lot of opportunities are not going for CNAs are not going to be on those online job boards. They're going to be directly on the website of the facility because that they own. It doesn't cost them money. So if you want to work at the hospital down the street, you're going to go to thehospitaldownthestreet.com and you're going to look at their jobs tab or their careers tab, and they will list on there all of their openings. Now, it's important to understand that when you submit an application, you are only submitting an application for that one opening that you're working on right then. If they have 5 CNA positions listed, you have to apply to all 5. They don't share your application. If you say, I'm applying to tele, which is a telemetry unit, they monitor the heart, then the labor and delivery department is not going to get your application. If you're applying to the labor and delivery department, ER is not going to get your application. If you're applying to the ER, med surge is not going to get your application. You have to apply to all of them. Good. Now, with hospitals, most people don't know this. When you fill that application out, it does not go to the hospital down the street. It goes to an outside third-party human resources company or division. They're not even in the building. So when your application goes to that place, they're going to look at it, your application, and they're going to look at the job description. And if the two don't match exactly, they toss yours. So for instance, if the job description says BLS required, and you put on your application CPR certified, those two don't match. It's the same thing. Remember in healthcare, we always have 2 words, right? You starting to catch on to that, right? So if the application, the description says BLS required, what should be on your application? BLS. Make sure they match exactly. If they don't match, that human resources person has no idea that there's 2 words for that thing. They just look at the words that the department is looking for. If you have those words, then they'll forward your application on. If you don't have those words, they toss it. And they don't even tell you. You'll be sitting there by the phone waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and nothing's happening. They don't tell you that they tossed your application. You just never get a call. So my suggestion, if you're trying to get on at the hospital, is be persistent, apply often to the same positions, because it seems like when they see your name come through a couple of times, it for some reason, I don't know why, but it seems to get the applications through a little bit better. Don't do them all in the same day. Wait a couple days in between. But if you don't hear back within a week, apply again. Make sure that your application matches. Now, I don't know why everybody wants to work at the hospital. I think that people watch way too much Grey's Anatomy or something. I don't know, but Dr. Dreamy does not hang out there. Hospitals are not a great place to start your CNA career. They're just not. Again, you're slow. You're slow. You're supposed to be slow. That's okay. But hospitals are not slow. And hospitals have a lot of change. You can start out with 6 patients and think, oh, wow, this is going to be a pretty good shift, right? By the end of the shift, you've got 14 patients. 2 of them have crashed and burned, and 1 of them fell because you couldn't get to the call light quick enough. This shift that looked okay became very not okay very quickly because patients in the hospital are very unstable. They're getting better quick and getting shipped out, or they're getting worse quick, and that's why they're there, right? So this is a very fast-paced environment with a ton of change, and you're not fast. So a lot of people think, I only want to work at the hospital. That's the only place I want to go. Well, that's fine. You can apply, but you may not be successful. And again, you may think, okay, healthcare isn't for me. And it's not healthcare that wasn't for you. It's that healthcare setting at this point in your career that's not good for you. So be careful about judging all healthcare based on one experience. Does that make sense? Be very careful with that. So when you're looking for a job, the best place to go is the employer's websites. Now that's nursing homes, hospitals, rehabs, mental health centers, jails, VA centers. I mean, there's a million places to work. You're not limited to just assisted living, nursing homes, and hospitals. There are thousands of different opportunities for CNAs. And there's a lot that you may not even think about right off the top of your head. So make sure you're kind of looking around. As you're driving around your community, start looking to see, oh, I didn't realize that was there. I wonder if they use CNAs. So the answer to that question is, do they use CNAs? If a nurse works there, a CNA can work there because CNAs are certified nursing assistants. So if they have nurses, they can have CNAs. So one that you may not have thought about were in Hernando County are the school clinics. Yep. Yep. So that's a pretty sweet deal, right? You get summers off. You get weekends off, no nights, no holidays. You know, it's not a bad deal, right? So there are a lot of opportunities that maybe aren't readily apparent. So make sure you're looking around for the opportunities. Good? Makes sense? One that surprises a lot of people are jails. Jails and prisons do hire CNAs because our people in jails and prisons still get sick. A lot of them have long-term chronic diseases that they have to manage. Diabetes, heart disease, infectious diseases like hepatitis or HIV. A lot of times these are people that have been living very high-risk lifestyles, right? Well, if they're sick and in jail or prison, we don't like send them to a nursing home. We have to provide the care right there. So there are CNA positions available in jails and prisons. Now, a lot of people are like, I don't want to work there. Oh my gosh, it's scary. A lot of our local, because I'm the only scrub shop in the county, right? So everybody has to shop with me. So a lot of people that work in our local jail say that they absolutely love working there because in a hospital, you don't know who your crazies are. Right? That patient is there for a gallbladder. You have no idea that they're schizophrenic. Right? So you walk in expecting a gallbladder problem, and what you've got is a schizophrenic problem with a gallbladder on the side. Okay? You just don't know. Right? So in nursing homes and hospitals, the psych part, very unknown. In jail and mental health facilities, you know, right? That That's all out there. They're not coming in off the street. We know a little bit about them, right? And we got guards, big beefy people that are right there. So if this person gets a little squirrely, we got some backup, right? So a lot of people that work in jail cell, they'll never go back into mainstream because you just don't have the help. And patient ratios, way better in incarceration facilities, way better. Nursing homes, you might have 20 patients to yourself. In a jail, you might have 6, 8. So don't discount jails as a potential employment opportunity. And if you get into the federal prison system, you get federal benefits. Wow. Nice. Yeah, it's one of those. I've got to do a show on this one because it's one of it's a type of nursing that no one really thinks about. It's kind of little known. No, but it's got a lot of benefits to it. Yeah, well, I would honestly venture to say it's probably a little bit better. Yeah, because even in the hospitals, you don't have ready access to staff. If there's an emergency, then you're kind of stuck in that room alone until you can get somebody to help you, right? In a facility, you're never alone, ever. You're not allowed to be alone with your patients. So there's always backup. Now, if you've ever watched movies, anybody ever watch like movies, action movies and stuff, right? They portray, if somebody wants to get out of jail, like escape, right? Where do they always go? The infirmary, the medical wing, whatever you want to call it, right? They kind of, in movies, they kind of portray that as an easy way to get out, right? Less monitored. Guys, the jails watch movies too. So they quickly realized, okay, this is a potential risk. So there's way more monitoring in the medical units than you would think, because they don't want that risk. Okay. All right. So there's a couple of other things that you want to do in addition to going to your potential employers' websites. If you go onto my website, foryourcna.com, that's the one on the front of the book, foryourcna.com. Under after certification, I've got local employers right up at the top. This is only for my Hernando County people. Well, I think I've got some of the hospitals in there too for Citrus. But if you go onto this page, you'll actually, this is what it looks like. I've got the workplace personality quiz, so you can start there to kind of figure out where you should be focusing your efforts at first. And then below that, I have a list of all the hospitals, all the nursing homes and rehabs, all the assisted living. Below that, if you scroll down, I've got all the home care agencies, all the outpatient settings like pediatric daycares and things like that. And then I've got some miscellaneous. So this is very well researched. So pretty much every medical employer is listed on here, and bonus, because I told you to go directly to their websites, right? If you click on the card, see how they're like a card? If you click on that, it takes you right to their website, to their hiring page. So I've done all the linking for you. All you have to do is go to my site and then just click on these, and it'll show you the positions open for that particular facility. Okay. So that's the easiest way to get to, and to kind of think about opportunities that you may not have thought of. Back there on the bulletin board, I've got employers that stop by and say, hey, we need some CNAs. I have about 30 employers in the area that beg to come in and talk to you on graduation day. You guys are in serious demand. You have no idea. Serious demand. But if I let one in, I have to let them all in, right? And if I let them in, we don't get anything else done, because all they're trying to do is hire you. So I just tell them, just bring me some stuff, I'll post it. So there's some stuff on the back wall. One of those is a doctor's office. Now, I don't know if they've already filled that position, but it might be worth a try, right? So don't discount doctor's offices either. As a CNA, you can work in a doctor's office. You don't have to be a medical assistant. Yeah, you can be a CNA working in a doctor's office. They can train you how to answer a phone, right? But you know how to do vital signs. You understand how to talk to the patients to find out information, right? You're able to be trained to help with procedures. So the difference between a medical assistant and a nursing assistant is in the name. Nursing assistants assist nurses. Medical assistants assist medical people. Medical and nursing, not the same, guys. Not the same. Medical is focused on finding out what's wrong with you and fixing it. Nursing is taking care of the whole body while medical does stuff. Two different routes. So CNAs, we do ADLs, right? And then observation and reporting. We help the nurses. So the nurses are taking care of the rest of the body while medical does its stuff. Medical assistants, they help medical. Medical is designed to find out what's wrong with you and fix it. So most of medical is going to happen in an office, right? You can be trained on those skills. You have the ones that matter. Vital signs. Hi, morning. And then they can train you on the rest. So yes, a lot of offices, walk-in clinics, those types of places will absolutely hire CNAs and train them. Yep. So now it depends on how busy the office is and if they have time to train you. If two people are applying, one of them is a medical assistant, they've got all that knowledge, and the other one is you, the medical assistant might win, possibly. But if you interview well, you probably have a chance. And they call me, so I know they hire. Another one you might want to think about is the pediatric daycare that's right down the road, especially if you have child care experience. That's what they're looking for. You know that not all kids can go to daycares, right? We got 2 across the street, but if you've got a feeding tube, they're not going to take you. You've got a trach, they're like, oh no, that's way too much liability for me. You've got a seizure disorder, nope, not going to happen. So where do these kids go? They can't go to regular daycares. Mom and dad still have to work, right? We're not in a society where stay-at-home parenting is a thing. So where do these kids go? Well, we actually have a medical daycare. It's right behind Friendly's Car Wash called Tender Care. And this is the daycare that kids go to when they have physical or emotional issues where they can't go to regular daycare. And they have physical therapy and occupational therapy right there. It's staffed by nurses, and they also hire CNAs.
Should have a nurse that was working there and tried to recruit me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They hire and then send people to us for training. Tender care. Yeah, so if you have child care, they do prefer that you have child care experience, so you understand developmental milestones. If you have child care experience, then I would absolutely go apply. It's a fun work environment. Yeah. Any questions on that? So they're on my list too. So if you go to my website, I link over to them.
So if I haven't signed up for my test yet, but I apply, I have my 40-hour DTF, everything back to where they're here now. Would they still take me until I?
Yes. Yep. Yep. You don't have to be certified to work there.
Okay.
They want you to be certified at some point, but you could certainly go apply. Yeah. All right. So, well, let me go back real quick. When we're talking about finding a job, so we're going to go direct to the website. We can look at online jobs boards. Some will probably be posted there, especially the ones that may not come to mind right away, right? Your outliers, they may be posted on jobs boards, but most of the time we're going to go to the websites. But there are a couple of other places that I want you to think about. Social media is a great way of finding a job. If you like, on Facebook, if you like all of the hospitals and nursing homes in your area, when they have a position, that's the first place they post it. So you can find out right away that a position is available. So on your Facebook feed, you should be liking all of your local employers, medical employers. But you can also do that on, all of the different types of social media. It really amazes me how many facilities have Instagram profiles, which is surprising to me because of HIPAA, right? So Instagram is very visual, but they make it work. So you can look on all of the social media for that. But honestly, probably the best way of finding a job is networking. Everybody in here knows somebody that works in medical. It is the dominant industry in our community. You know somebody that works in medical. You probably know multiple somebodies that work in medical. The best thing to do is to go to those people and say, hey, I just finished my CNA class, or I just got my certification. Is your place hiring? Now, a lot of places are offering hiring bonuses and referral bonuses. So if I come to you and say, hey, is your place hiring? And you say yes. And when you go apply, put down my name, because you're going to get $100 for referring me. And if I stick around for 6 months, I'll get $500, right? So it's a win-win situation. They would rather, so here's the deal. How many of you guys have ever worked somewhere and the job was okay, but you couldn't stand the people you were working with, right? That will make you quit faster than a bad work job, right? What you're doing, right? Work tasks. You have to like the people you're doing those tasks with for it to work. Make sense, right? Almost every job I've quit, it's been because of a person, not because of a thing. So if you are referring me, I'm assuming you actually like me, right? Or the employer will assume, because you're referring me, which means that we should get along pretty well, which reduces the possibility that we have a hostile work environment. So that referral actually means something. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you want to look around and find your people and say, hey, is your place hiring? And do they have a referral program? Most do. Most do. So it's a way for each one of you to get just a little bit of a bump, right? So networking is a great way of finding potential employment. Good. These are all things that your yellow book didn't cover, but I think that they're kind of important for you to know. All right. And then we have our packets. Now, this is covered on whatever page you're on now. 120, what is it? 5? Yeah. So in the second column, it talks to you about a packet. You need a packet. Whoever takes the packet's getting the job. It's that simple. You need to make a packet. Now, in that packet, you should have a resume. If you don't have a resume, go to Career Source. They'll help you build one for free. They'll help you. You should have your CNA certification, what we call the blue card. You should have your CPR and first aid cards and any additional certifications you have or in-services you've completed or anything like that. If it's a home care job or a job that you're going to be traveling, put your driver's license in there, a copy of your driver's license. I like putting that in there anyway, the photo ID, because they may not remember you, but if they see your picture, it may jog their memory. So why do you need a packet? Well, if I am going to hire, and Shaylin and Bernice both came in and interviewed, and they both were fine. They both have pretty much the same amount of experience. They both interviewed just fine. I could flip a coin and be happy. But Shaylin brought me a packet. Bernice did not. So if I want to hire Bernice, I have to call her up and say, Bernice, I'd like to offer you the job, but we have to fill out your employment folder first. So this is what I need from you. Do you have a resume? Corporate requires a resume on file. And we have to have a copy of your blue card. We can't let you work without that. We also require CPR and first aid. If you've got those, go ahead and get those over to us, and any additional certifications that you might have goes in your employee file. We have to keep up with your continuing education, your in-services. So get all that over to Human Resources. They'll check it in. Once your file is complete, they'll let me know, and I can call and schedule you for orientation. Or I could pick up the phone and say, Shaylin, would you like to start Monday? Which one am I going to do as an employer? The easy one, the one that can start right now, because everything is already done. I don't have to chase this person around for the things that I need for their file. This is why the person with the packet gets the job. It's that simple. You want the job? Make the packet. Always give copies, never originals. And if they ask you for originals, run. Not so much anymore because people are a little bit more aware of this. But a couple of years ago, facilities don't want you to leave. Once they've got you and they've trained you, they don't want you to leave because it's expensive to try to find a replacement. They don't want you to leave. So how do they keep you from leaving? They hold your CPR and first aid cards, the originals. So if you want to leave, you don't have CPR and first aid cards. You would have to go get recertified in order to get cards, right? So they don't do that much anymore, but that was a thing where they would hold your, yeah. Also, be aware if they pay for your CPR and first aid. So if they have somebody come in, so if they hire me to come into their facility and train, you do a day of CPR and get everybody recertified, right? I give the cards to them. Who paid me? They did. Who gets cards? They do. Yeah. That's a problem. So it's fine as long as you're working there. You're certified. You meet, free training. You didn't have to pay, but understand that even though you're the one sitting in the classroom, the person that paid for the card is the one that gets the card. So if you're planning on leaving, you might want to work that into your budget. Okay, makes sense? Yeah. Okay. Now most places have gone to e-cards. So e-cards are tied to your email address to try to get away from that, right? So it's not as much of an issue anymore, but remember that with any training that they're paying for, they get to hold the certification. So I always make it a practice of getting my own and just giving them copies. That way I own it. Okay. Good. Does that make sense? Okay. Beware of online CPR. Do not do online CPR. Do not do online CPR. This is a big thing going around right now. Do not do online CPR. Most places do not accept that as a certification, right? Nobody watched you thump on the chest. We need to watch you thump on the chest. Somebody has to verify that you know how to thump on the chest, okay? Online CPR doesn't. There's no way to check and challenge the skills part. Oh, it is a thing. And once you get certified, your Facebook feed will be full of online CPR things. And some places are okay with it. Some places don't care. As long as you've got a card that says CPR and your name on it, I'm good. But like, you guys know the worst time to figure out that you had a crappy CNA or CPR instructor is when there's a dead body at your feet and you don't know what to do, right? That's like when you really need it and you don't know what to do. That's when you're going to go, oh yeah, this is why online CPR really doesn't work. Because I don't know what to do now. Sorry about your luck. Yeah. Yes. Good. Very good. Very good. Yeah. Professional responsibility goes a long way. Great job. All right, so these are the things that you want in your packet. It doesn't have to be fancy. You don't have to put it in a folder. Just put all the stuff together, staple it. When you go for your interview, you're going to hand it to them, give them a handshake. They're going to put it aside. They don't care about it right now because they got you. The problem is that you can't be hired if you're not remembered, and you are not the only person I'm interviewing today. If you're number 2 or 3, you are going to get lost in the shuffle. I'm not going to remember you after 2 more after you. I'm just not. I might remember the first, I might remember the last, and maybe one more in between there. But if you're not remembered, you can't be hired. This packet helps you be remembered. Because at the end of the day, before they go home, they're cleaning off their desk. They come across the packet, they flip through it, and they go, oh, yeah, I remember Patricia. Oh, I remember her now, but I didn't 30 seconds ago. So packets are powerful. Yes.
So whenever you're filling out like resumes, well, whenever you're filling out applications, should you adjust your resume according to that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a very good point. This is something most people don't know. A lot of people think resumes are one and done. I do a resume, I'm good. That's all I need. That is absolutely not true. You should have a resume for every type of job that you are trying to get. If you're going to go for the pediatric daycare, your resume should reflect that. If you're going to go for hospice, your resume should reflect that. So the skills that you highlight should reflect skills that are going to be important in that setting. The experience, when you put where you worked, when you worked, and then below you kind of tell a little bit about the work, right? You should tailor that for that setting. You should have 16 resumes, one for every type of job that you're trying to get. Okay, and tweak them for that setting. Great question. Great question. All right, any questions on this?
What if they ask for, I've been in a couple of interviews, what if they ask for your social, and like you can only take like your actual social in person instead of a copy? Should I consider that as like a red flag, as sketchy, or should I just kind of like?
They may have to make a copy themselves. That's an I-9 situation. Because we have to, anytime we hire, we have to prove that you are able to work legally in the country. And the social security card's a little bit different. That's a very good point. Social security card's a little bit different. I have to make a copy of the original, and I'm the one that has to do it because everybody has access to Photoshop, right? And it's easy for me to erase the name and put another one in there. So that's the one exception. It's a very good point. That's the one exception is driver's license and social security. If you're hired, you need to give them the originals for them to make a copy. Don't leave them there. Take them home with you, but you have to physically hand them over for them to make the copies. They can't accept copies.
Would you say you go to the have our social with this as well?
Yeah. If they give you a job offer, they're going to need that. This is kind of amazing to me, right? You should be sending a thank you card, and no one ever does. A lot of people, I don't know why this part gets missed. I don't know if people think that it's too brown nosy. I'm not real sure what the thought process is here, but remember I said you can't be hired if you're not remembered, right? This is how you get remembered. That thank you card is super important. Now, thank you emails will work too, but it's a little more impersonal. It doesn't take anything to send an email. But any job I've ever gone to interview for, I have a thank you card sitting in the car waiting for me when I come out. And I've already filled it out. I've already written in it. I've got dear, and I leave it blank. Thank you for the opportunity to interview with you today. I look forward to hearing from you. If you have any questions, please feel free to, contact me. I may even say something about, I'm excited about the opportunity of working in this setting, right? So I'm basically letting them know, thank you for your time. But I'm also, by sending this, telling them I need a follow-up, right? Even if you're not going to give me the job, because I sent a thank you card, they're going to let me know. It's a courtesy. Does that make sense? No thank you card, they may not ever call you. They may just forget about you. You've been lost in the shuffle. Thank you card, you'll always get a follow-up. Now, I always have this in my car during the interview. When I come out of the interview, I write the name of the person that I spoke with on the card and on the envelope, drive directly to the nearest mailbox, drop off, blue box or post office, put it in the mail. It'll show up the next day. It will show up the next day. So how do I get hired? Be remembered. Thank you cards are important, guys. Emails will work too, but emails are kind of important. If you can see my email box, I've had 300 emails since yesterday. You're not going to stand out. You are not going to stand out. I guarantee it. Yeah. And you can go get a pack of thank you cards at the Dollar Tree for $1.25. Right, went up, but $1.25. And they even come with envelopes.
Oh, well, you answered the question. I was gonna say, like, would it be more realistic to type it or to actually buy a card?
Buy a card and fill it out, handwrite it. Mhm. Yeah. So here's a thought process as an employer. I'll give you a real world example of this too. So as an employer, I'm looking for somebody who actually wants to show up for work. I mean, that's my biggest criteria. If I'm going to hire you, I want to hire the person that's most likely to actually show up for work. Yeah, reliability, but somebody that shows a little initiative as well, right? If I get a thank you card in the mail, doesn't matter how you interviewed, you just went to the top of the list because you were showing initiative. And if you're working this hard to get the job, you might actually show up, right? So when I had a position open next door for the retail store, I interviewed about 10 different people. I had a lot that scheduled interviews, never showed up. Don't do that. So that irritated me. And even if they wanted to work later, I won't hire them because I had to make sure I was here. I'm only here during class days. The rest of the time I work from my home office. So I had to come in, be available, and then they don't show. They're never getting a job from me. I can tell you that, right? But I interviewed about 10 people. And I am an incredibly busy person. I am running 2 businesses. Incredibly, and I'm super, super busy online. I go live now 4 days a week, right? That's a huge amount of time answering comments and developing all these slides and graphics and the review sheet. I mean, all of the stuff that I do, I'm busy, right? So I had not had a chance to make a decision on who I was going to hire. One of the people called me up and said, just checking in to see if you had made a decision yet. Do you have any questions? Is there anything I can do? I said, you're hired. Start Monday. She called me. I didn't have to call her. I didn't have to stop, pick up a file, look up a phone number and call. She just called me to check in. And I figured if she's got that much initiative, she might actually show up. You're hired. There you go. Decision made. And I'm happy with my decision. She's turned out to have a lot of initiatives. So good. These are strategies that actually work. And I'm telling you that from an employer point of view. Okay. They work. All right. So we're going to talk about PRN jobs. As a brand new CNA, you're probably not going to get hired on full time anywhere. If I hire you full time, it takes an act of Congress to fire you. I have to have so many verbal warnings and written warnings and remediation plans. And I can't just like fire you, right? It takes a whole lot of work to get rid of a bad CNA if you've hired them full time. So you're probably not going to get a full-time position right out of the gate because they don't know you. They have no idea if you're reliable or what your work ethic is, or if you're even good with the patients, or they don't know you. So they're probably not going to offer you a full-time position right away. They're probably going to give you a PRN position. PRN, if you remember on the medical abbreviations, meant as needed. PRN is as needed. So this does not mean you're on call. That's not what this is. If I have a PRN position, let's say here at the store, I'm going to hire a PRN individual. You're not really working a set schedule. You're not working full time, but I have an opening every Monday and then occasionally on a Thursday or Friday or Saturday when somebody else is off. So you would be working every Monday and then another day based on the needs that I have for my other employees scheduling, right? So that is PRN, as needed. It's often a scheduled position. You tell them when you're available. They tell you what shifts you have open. If the two meet, congratulations, you now have a shift, right? But think of this as a working paid interview. If you do well in a PRN position when a full-time one gets open, they're not going to hire an outsider for that. They're going to look at their most reliable PRN people for that full-time position. Does that make sense? Don't turn down a PRN position because you think it's not full-time. You know, it's not steady enough for you. Often it turns into steady. Now, the other problem with healthcare is that we are seasonal. So in the summer, we don't have as many people in town. Starting in October, this place explodes. And they're all over 70. Snowbirds. They come down in flocks for the winter. Now, when they come down, because because there is a change in weather and environment, a good portion of them end up sick. So they come down, it's winter, they're exposed to new pathogens because it's a new location, and they get sick. So our facilities increase in what we call census or get overflowing with patients over the winter. And then around April, they all go back home where it's a little cooler because they can't handle the heat. You guys remember us talking about temperature regulation in the elderly, right? So this is a good system for them as far as temperature regulation. They don't have to deal with the cold in the winter or the heat down here in the summer. It works well. But the problem is that means our healthcare system has peak need, and then during the summer, the need kind of wanes a little bit. So PRN positions help us adjust staffing accordingly. Does that make sense? Good. So those PRN positions can be valuable for you. Don't just turn one away because you don't think it, you think it's an on-call thing.
Consider, well, for me, I'm going to school in August. So being a college student, would you consider I take on a PRN position?
Sure. Yeah. PRN positions really are built for students. Yeah, they really are. Home care too. Home care often offers a lot of flexibility. Yeah, absolutely. When I went from my LPN to my RN, when I did the bridge, it's 2 years back then. It was 2 years of prereqs and a year and a half of actual nursing. So, and that's from the LPN. Now they've cut a lot of the prereqs down. You only have to have, I think, 6 now, or we had to get the AA. So I worked a lot of PRN positions when I was in nursing school. Yeah, and it's built for that. There's also a plan called a Baylor plan. Now, a Baylor plan, it's BAYLOR. These really are built for students. Baylor plan, you agree to work every weekend without fail, right? Because most full-time people, they don't want to work weekends. They want to do their weeks and have their weekends off. So a Baylor position is, I'm not going to work during the week. I want my weeks off, but I am guaranteeing that I will be here every weekend, and you're going to work a double on Saturday and a double on Sunday. And then you'll work one additional shift, either on Friday or Monday, one additional shift. So you get 5 shifts in, and that's your 40 hours. Now, some places will do a Baylor program where they pay you for 40 and you only work 32 or 36, depending on their, how they're structured. So that's a very nice, but you're guaranteeing that you will be there every weekend without fail. So if you're a call off queen, this is not the position for you. Yeah. You're a call off queen. This is not the position for you. Yeah. But I'm telling you, normal staff, regular staff, full-time staff, they absolutely love Baylor people, because if we have enough Baylor people, I don't have to work weekends. And they will just kiss your feet, because that gives them time off, much needed time off.
Are Baylor plans more common in like different settings, like versus nursing homes and hospitals?
It's something you'd want to ask during an interview. Do you offer a Baylor plan? Some places, it's very individual to the institution, not within a segment.
Okay.
It's institutional driven. Okay. All right, so let's move on to interview tips, page 126. And chapter 10 covered a lot of this for you. But I just want to go over a couple of these really quickly that I think are worth noting. Dress to impress. So we've all heard this, right? But the overlying theory here is dress for a job, for the job you intend to get. So dress for the job you intend to get. So if we're going to try to get a CNA position, what do CNAs wear? Yeah, it's perfectly appropriate to wear scrubs to an interview for CNA, for entry-level healthcare. Perfectly appropriate, no problem with it. But they need to be neat, clean, press. Don't pull them out of the dryer, shake them out, and put them on like we do for class. You want nice creases. Hey guys, no shade. I did the same thing, right? So, but I'm not interviewing, right? So, yeah. So, yeah. So we want them pressed. So if you don't know your way around an iron, take them to a dry cleaner. They'll do it for you. But you want the most professional image possible. If you have visible tattoos, they should be covered with a long sleeve shirt under or a scrub jacket over until you find out what their tattoo policy is. Now, a lot of places are very lenient on tattoos. You guys have changed the whole culture. Congratulations. But most places are a little bit more lenient on tattoos. That being said, however, remember that when you are hired, you are there to represent your company's values. And I hear a lot of people say, well, they can't discriminate against me on tattoos. Yeah, they can. They absolutely can. Now, they're not going to tell you, yeah, because of that tattoo, I'm not hiring you. They're just going to say, no, we've made another decision. We've gone another way, right? So you need to be aware of that when you're making your tattoo decisions, right? And I have a daughter who has multiple tattoos. And she knows my stance on this. I'm okay with tattoos. Tattoos are not a problem, but you want to restrict their visibility. Okay, so make sure that when you're making future decisions that you're keeping your future career in mind. But for an interview, you should keep them covered until you find out what their policy is. Good, makes sense. Hair should be, nicely done. Up is fine, back, so it's not swinging forward. Makeup should be natural, nothing crazy, right? But a lot of people ask me about nails. So a lot of facilities have natural nail only policies. So no gels, no acrylics, nothing like that. You want to find out what their policy is. Some places are like, we don't care as long as you show up, I'll take you. But you want to know what that policy is. So my own personal recommendation is natural nails for an interview until you find out. If you're wearing acrylics or gels, that's fine, but no sharp points. And coffin tips were a thing. Are those still a thing now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Try not to do that either. Sport length is what you're looking. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. So here's the thing, right? If I'm interviewing you for a CNA position and I see that, I see, your nails, they have sharp points. I'm probably going to make a decision right then and there not to hire you, primarily because if an injury to the patient happens, who's liable? The company, and more importantly, the nurse, right? Remember, nurses have liability. So because you're putting my liability at risk, I'm probably not going to hire you. So if you do wear acrylics or gels, keep them at that sport length, the shorter length, until you know what their policy is, and then make decisions based on the well-being of your patient, your future patients, when you're making decisions. Arrive early, not Tuesday early, but 10 minutes early. Now, here's the thing about arriving early. And this is the part, everybody knows this, right? Everybody's heard this. Me, I am late for everything. I'm the one that comes driving into the parking lot on two wheels because, oh crap, I'm late. I'm late for everything, right? You don't want to be there. You don't want to do that. Make sure that you plan accordingly. Right? Yeah, at least for the interview. So 10 minutes early. But here's the thing, right? Everybody knows this, but here's the thing. This is the part you don't know. You are agreeing to give up 8 hours of your precious time. Remember, time is the one thing you can never get back. Once it's spent, it's spent. I can make more money, but I can never make more time. So I'm agreeing to give up 8 hours of my day, or maybe 12 hours of my day, to be at this place with these people. I probably need to find a place that suits me, that I'm not going to hate to go to for 8 hours a day, because honestly, I spend more of my waking time at work than I do at home. I want to make sure, like, my home is, the way I want it. I set it up, right? It's my home, right? Work, I have no control. So during that 10 minutes that I'm there early, I want to be interviewing the place. I want to be looking at, how do the staff members treat each other? How long are those call lights going to go off before somebody checks on the patient? What does the place smell like? Is the receptionist friendly? Right? Or is she scrolling through her phone while the phone, or through her phone while the phone at the facility is ringing off the hook and she's not answering? That tells you about the company culture. And that's going to be an important part of your decision making. Remember, I said that you guys are in demand, right? You're going to have your pick of places to work. You need to find one that fits you. The only way to know that, don't just take the first one that offers you a job. That's like marrying the first guy you would go on a date with, right? That's just not a good policy. So take the time while you're there to interview the facility, to look, listen, smell, find out, is this where I want to work? You can tell a lot about a facility just by using your senses. And then when you're talking with the interviewer, remember that you were there to interview them as well. So you need to be asking questions and making sure, and I've got questions in there for you on page 127, interview questions. You need to be asking questions. When you are at your interview, you should have a little notebook in your pocket with a pen. It amazes me how many people go to an interview without a notebook. You're asking questions. You need the answers to them. You need to write them down, because I guarantee you, your brain right now is Swiss cheese. You're stressed. You're in an interview. I'm going to prove it in a minute, but you're stressed. So you need to take a notebook with you and write down what they tell you. Because if they say, okay, we want to offer you the job, we're going to pay you $14 an hour and, whatever. When you get out to the car, if you counter and say, well, I'd really like $14.50, and then they say, well, we can go to $14.25, right, you've done some negotiations or whatever, which you probably won't negotiate when you're a brand new CNA because you have nothing to stand on. But when you get out to the car, you're going to go, oh, wait a minute, what did we decide on? What? If you write it down, now you've got something to refer back to. Make sense? Mm-hmm. But here's the other thing. If I want to I want to offer JC a position. And I'm going to say, JC, I'd like to offer you this position. We agree on a wage, and I'm going to tell you, okay, I need you to come in on Monday at 8 a.m. for orientation. You're going to go to the second floor of the medical office building, room 302. You're going to be meeting with Susan, and she's going to do orientation. Just casual dress is fine for 2 days. And then on the third day, you're going to go over to the facility, and you're going to be in B wing, and I'm going to put you with Audrey, and she's going to shadow you. Okay? So we'll see you on Monday. You're not going to remember. So you'll be going home and then calling up the receptionist and saying, do you know what room I'm supposed to go to? Or yeah, what time was I supposed to be? What was I supposed to wear? She wasn't in the interview. She don't know. You know, that's why you need a notebook. You can jot all of that down and then read it back to them. Okay, Monday at 8, medical office building, second floor, meet with Susan, casual dress, 2 days. And then I'm going to be on unit B with Audrey shadowing. Absolutely. Absolutely. Can you imagine how much stress that would relieve off of you? Take a notebook, guys. Okay, good. All right, you should be odor neutral. Don't smell good. Don't smell bad. Pretty much it. Pretty much it. Don't smoke before an interview. We will smell it. Even with Febreze, we will smell it. Most facilities are no smoking facilities. If I catch cigarette smoke on you, you're not getting the job. And this is why. Even if somebody else is smoking and you're just carrying it, I'm going to assume you're a smoker if I smell cigarette smoke. Cigarette smokers take more breaks, and the breaks are longer because you have to go off campus to smoke. So that 15-minute break is probably going to turn into 20 to 25 minutes. And people get upset. Absolutely. Yep. So yeah, if you smell like cigarette smoke, I'm just not going to hire you. It's not worth it to me. Oh, one other thing about dressing. Don't wear prints to an interview. Don't wear prints to an interview. I know I got some really cute prints next door. I got a Tinkerbell print that's just adorable, great for summer. Don't wear prints to an interview. What's that? Yeah. Yeah. So, oh yeah. Yeah, we have some cute ones, right? Well, here's the problem. Most places are now in solid colors, and you're color coded based on your job description, right? So CNAs wear this color, nurses wear this color. Almost everybody's color coded into solids now. It's why I don't carry a whole lot of prints, although they're fun. Most places just don't use them. So if you show up in that Tinkerbell print, I'm going to automatically assume that I'm going to have to play fashion police with you. And I don't want to do that as an employer. I've done that when they switched. Oh my gosh. Remember, I've owned a scrub shop for 15 years. We were ground zero when they switched to solids. And it was, I have never seen so many angry people. It was like an angry mob. They were just ticked off at the world and treating us like crap. We didn't make the policy. Right? I mean, just mean people. And I get it. You know, they wanted to wear Tinkerbell. I understand. But so these managers are now in a very difficult position telling people, go home and change. Tinkerbell doesn't work here. Right? And they would have to send them home to change into the right uniform. You do that enough times and you get really sick and tired of playing fashion police. So if you show up in a print, I'm going to assume that you're going to be a problem. It's just the way it is. So, so if you know what color the CNAs wear at the facility that you're going to interview with, and you have that color, that's a really good idea. So if you know that CNAs are wearing hunter green wherever you're going to interview, wear hunter green if you've got it in your closet. No, that's fine. Yeah, like what you've got on now is perfect. Yeah, it's just the uniform itself. All right. Smile. Do I have to go there? If you don't look like you want to be at the interview, I'm going to have a hard time getting you to the job. Right? So at least pretend. Pretend. I know you're nervous. But pretend. Make eye contact. This is probably the most underrated piece of advice. Make eye contact. Half of our job is observation and reporting. Remember, that's half of what CNAs do. If you can't make eye contact with me in an interview, what are you going to do when you've got a doctor yelling in the hallway? Right? I need a certain level of confidence here. Yes, I know you're scared. That's fine. Shake if you need to. I don't care, but you better be making eye contact, because if you're not going to get the job. Right? A little bit of confidence goes a long way here. So make sure that you're making eye contact. Shake hands firmly, no wet fish. You're not the Queen of England. We're not kissing your ring, right? So shake hands firmly. Put your hand out. Thumb should always be pointed up. Shake hands. Don't try to arm wrestle, though. Don't prove you're stronger than them. Answer questions thoroughly. Ask questions at the end of the interview. And I love this one. Leave family, friends, and pets at home. So let me give you 2 scenarios. Now, notice that's just one sentence. Now I got 2 stories. So one of our local long-term care settings, girl was coming in to interview for a CNA position. And before her interview time, this older woman comes in on a walker, very slow, walks in, sits down in the waiting room, and the receptionist asks, "Can I help you?" And she says, No, I'm just waiting for somebody. And so the receptionist thought, well, maybe she's there for a tour, or, right? She looks more like a patient than, right? So the receptionist, like a couple minutes later, the interviewee came in, checked in with the receptionist, sat down next to this older woman. So the DON comes out to get the person she's interviewing. She comes out, greets her, takes her back into the office. The interview is going fine, no problems. And the DON asks, "Do you have any experience?" She says, "Yes, hold on one second." She goes out to the waiting room and brings this woman into the interview with her. Little old lady on a walker. Yep. She says, "I've been taking care of her at home for like 4 months, and she's going to tell you how great I am." What do you do with that? I mean, okay.
What if she doesn't get the job? Do you let them both know?
I know. Yeah. This is an awkward breakup.
What was the thought process?
Yeah, references on request, not with you. Right? Okay, so second story. Second story. Now, that one I actually heard from a local DON. She came in and told me about that one. This one I was actually a part of.
Oh, no.
So this is, I don't know, 20 years ago or so, maybe even a little longer. I was working in Orlando, and the floor supervisor was off on maternity leave. So I was assuming her duties while she was gone. And part of that was scheduling and interviewing and things like that. And she had this little office. And when I say little office, I mean, you see my little area here? That's huge. Okay. She had enough room for a desk and a chair in a closet. So very small, very, very, very small space. So this woman comes in to interview. Now, this was an older hospital, and on the other side of our unit, they were renovating. So a lot of construction noises, hammering and sawing and all that, right? So I'm in this little tiny office with this interviewee, and I'm hearing a scuffling sound, and I'm not real sure what it is. And I'm thinking, uh-oh, older building, construction, it's probably a little mouse that, because they get dislodged, during construction. And I'm thinking this woman I'm interviewing is going to freak out if she sees a little mouse. So let me take her on a tour of the unit, right? I'm going to get us out of the office. So we go out of the office, tour the unit, go to the break room, sit down at the table, because I'm not going back to my office. There's probably a mouse in there, right? So sit down at the table, and I'm hearing the scuffling sound again. It's like, what is that? And she says, what? I said, I'm hearing a scuffling sound. I'm trying, what is it? And I'm looking all around the floor, and she said, oh, that's probably just Precious. What's a Precious? I asked her. So she says, oh, Precious is my little teacup something, right? This little dog. And she has separation anxiety. So she stays in my purse, right? And her purse apparently had this mesh thing, right? So this dog lives in her purse. Now, let me preface this by saying that I have a brand new 5-month-old little teeny tiny mini labradoodle. Yeah, labradoodle. She's adorable. Oh my gosh, she's the cutest thing ever. I get it. Okay, I now own one of these things. I get it. I get the appeal. She is not in my purse, however. She is at home where she belongs. Okay, so I get it. But so I said, oh, you brought your dog with you to an interview. And she totally missed the sarcasm. And she said, yes, my dog goes with me everywhere because she has separation anxiety. I said, so what's Precious going to do if you get the position? And she says, oh, she'll just stay in the break room. Thank you so much for coming in. We'll be in touch. No, we won't. Okay. Yes. Oh, no, in her purse. In her purse. In her purse, because it had a little mesh thing, so she could breathe. Yes. In her purse. Right. So we have a setting that has a lot of strange noises and sounds and people, right? Do you think that a dog that already has a nervous disposition is going to be okay in that situation? Oh, I know. This was just. Yeah, we need to cut down on the meds a little, right? So although this only takes up one line of our page, understand that I kept it brief to bring attention to it. This is not appropriate. Real thing. Those are both real stories that actually happen. Make sure that you're prepared. Make sure that you say thank you. So on the make sure you're prepared note, this is something that drives me personally insane. Every interview has a question they are going to ask you, and it's coming. It's coming. Tell me a little bit about yourself. And every single person looks at the interviewer with a deer in the headlights look and goes, okay, the question is coming. It's an open book test on the one subject that you know the most about, you, and you're not able to utter a single word. So, so we need to work on this. So, yeah, okay. So this is what they don't want to hear. Well, I was born in Virginia, and then we moved to Pennsylvania, and then Mama and Daddy got divorced, so I moved in with Grandma, and they don't want that. What they want to know is, why should I be interested in you? So I'm going to help you with this. I'm going to go around the room really quickly and help you with this. So what kind of jobs have you had in the past?
Server,
Okay.
staffer, scheduler.
Okay. That is a hard job. Okay. All right. So if you were interviewing and somebody asked you, tell me a little bit about yourself, you should say something along the lines of this. Okay. I've got previous experience as a server where I learned to anticipate needs, to diffuse difficult situations. I understand time management, prioritization, and organization because of that serving experience. And I also worked as a scheduler in a long-term care facility where I became familiar with working in a medical environment around medical people and developed strong organizational skills with scheduling, because you really have to learn how to think of 3D with that job. But along the way, I realized that I wanted a position that gave me a little bit more hands-on experience with patients, a closer relationship. So I took a CNA course, and I'm just starting my career as a CNA. And I think I would be a very good asset to your facility because of the skills that I have and my determination and drive to provide excellent patient care. Now, you come up with something like that, you're going to get the job. Doesn't that sound so much better than
That was awful.
guys, watch the replay. I'm taping it for you. Okay. So there's a formula that you use here. There's a formula, and I forgot to make a slide for it yesterday, but there's a formula. So here's your formula. You mention a job that you had, and you tie soft skills to that job. Now, soft skills are things like ability to diffuse difficult situations, prioritization, organization, time management, friendly personality, ability to work well with others, promptness, reliability, right? You all have at least one of those skills. Probably not all of them. We're not perfect, but you all have at least one. Like, I would never say prompt. I don't lie. I am always late, right? So I'm not going to leave that one out, but I have very, very good analytical and problem solving abilities. Okay. So I would want to bring that one out and shine it up a little bit. Then you jump to, so you have your previous experience with soft skills. Okay. That's number one. Number two, you jump to your most recent job. Okay. What are you doing now? Or what did you just do for relevant recent experience? And again, you tie a soft skill to that. Then you tell them why you took a CNA program. Okay. What brought you here? Did you take care of your grandparent and learn that you liked caring for others? Did you notice that there's a million job opportunities and you're looking for a career that is very stable, especially in times of economic uncertainty? Hello, right? Why are you here? Why did you take this class? And then, so we have a previous job with soft skills. We have the most recent job with soft skills. We have why we took the class. And we follow it up with, I believe I would be an asset to your company because. That's your formula. Every single one of you should be able to develop this elevator speech within 30 seconds using that formula. Okay. And if you need to figure out some soft skills, go on to your favorite search engine, like Uncle Google, right? And you just type in, what are some soft skills? Or what are soft skills related to nursing? That's a good one, right? And it'll give you like this whole list. Pick a couple, right? It's like Mad Libs. Anybody ever play Mad Libs, right? Like fill in the blank thing, right? So that's all you're doing here. You've got a formula, fill it out, and then memorize it. And then when you go into the interview and you say to them, this is why you should pick me, it's going to put you way above everybody else because everybody else is still going, I don't know. Well, if you don't know why they should hire you, How in the world are they supposed to know? They don't know you. They have no idea who you are. You could be an axe murdering maniac, right? They don't know you. Your job is to tell them, hey, I'm not an axe murdering maniac. Because you know what? We actually do have some of those in healthcare. We're trying to avoid that, right? So your opportunity to tell them, hey, I'm pretty normal. I would do a good job for you. And I'm here for the right reasons. Now, you don't want to go in and say, yeah, I'm looking for an old sugar daddy with one foot in the grave. You know, so where better to find one that's 1 foot in the grave? It does. It does. Yes, it does. Yeah.
Yeah, she found a sugar daddy. I was like, girl, you were so eloquent.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. But yes, this is your opportunity to tell them that you really are a good fit. If you can't articulate that to them, they're not going to know it. So you got to take this question kind of seriously. Use the formula. So go back and watch the replay, use the formula I just gave you, and it will help you create and craft a very good tell me a little bit about yourself answer. Okay, good. There's a defined formula that you can use there. All right, so page 142. We have a practice test. This is very similar to the state exam. It's 60 questions, multiple choice. If you take this and miss 5 or less, okay, you miss 5 questions or less, you are ready for the written test. 5 questions or less, you are ready for the written test. If you miss more than 5, you need to come see me and we got to figure out why. Because you should not have been able to sit through this entire program and listen to me yammer on for 8 classes and not be able to pass this. If you notice, as you were reading the questions, you probably heard me in your head saying little things, right? You want me in your head test day. You do. So that's what this is all about. This is very similar to the state exam. And students have come back and told me time and time again that my test was harder than the state exam. Okay. So this will help you. Yep. All right. So good. Makes sense. All right. So just, you're leaving us today. We're not leaving you though. Okay. We're still around. You still have a ton of opportunities to continue learning and practicing for the state exam. Remember that I go live every Thursday. So tomorrow at 3, I'm going live and I always give a lesson. Last week was on CPR. If you didn't watch it, you probably need to, because it's discussing the difference between CPR and BLS and first aid. And there is a difference between CPR and BLS. So remember, we go live every Thursday at 3 on YouTube. If you like our channel and hit that little bell, YouTube will let you know when we go live. But that's not the only thing that we go live for. We also have the, where is it? Hold on. There we go. We also have the game show. I did this yesterday. I know Patricia was on there. I did this yesterday. This is 15 test specific questions. So just like that practice test on page 142, right? I go through 15 questions and you have an opportunity to win prizes. So I give away badge holders, card games. I've got some new prizes that we're going to be giving away. But it's a great way to practice for the written test. So if you did not do well on the practice test on page 142, you definitely need to go back and watch these replays, because I explained to you why the right answers are the right answers. Okay, so we do that the first and third Tuesday of every month. Good. All right. We also have the practice kit. Now you have this room available to you on Mondays and Wednesdays from 9 to 1 for 4 weeks. No, that's class. Sorry. You have this room available to you on Mondays and Wednesdays from 1:30 until 4 after graduation. So every Monday and Wednesday, you can come in and practice using our supplies and our mannequins and our beds and our everything. Doesn't cost you a thing. Need to be in uniform with your ID badge in order to practice. I do want the room looking like what that stop sign says before you leave. So when you leave, you need to make sure that all the wet linens are hung up. The mannequin is in a gown, not in clothing, and the beds are neatly made. Okay, cool. Mondays and Wednesdays, 1:30 till 4 for, I'm going to give you guys 6 weeks. I usually give you 4, but I'm off for a couple weeks. So 6 weeks is fine. It's on the back of your ID badge as well. And as long as you're being reasonable about it, I'll let you, come in even after that 6 weeks. If it's 6 months down the road, I'm not letting you in. I'm just not. Because by then I've got new groups that are in here practicing, and you've been out so long, you forgot stuff. So when you're in here practicing, you're going to be asking the new people, what did she say about this? Or can you watch me do this and tell me if I'm doing it right? They're students. They don't know. So if you're 6 months, 6 months down the road, I'm not letting you in. That's, I have to protect my new people. And that's not because I'm being mean to you. It's because I'm protecting you right now. Okay. But if you can't come in and practice, you need to get a practice kit, because you probably don't know how to use a gate belt if you're not practicing in here. If you didn't use the drainage bag and the graduate container, you don't have anything at home that can simulate that, right? So this practice kit has everything you need to be able to practice. And through today, you can get it for $45.99. After today, it goes back up to $65.99. So I'm giving you a huge discount. Basically, I give this to you at cost just to get you to practice for the test. But if you come in here, you can practice for free. Make sure you're in uniform with your ID badge, though. No outsiders allowed. Please don't bring your pets. Okay. Of course, we have flashcards. We have the card game as well. This card game are all of those principles on that back wall. You collect sets. You have to avoid the crappy caregivers because they count against you. And man, there's a lot of crappy caregivers in that deck, because there's a lot of crappy caregivers out there. And then there's specialty cards like call off crisis, care plan catastrophe, fire drill. So it helps kind of teach you some of those soft skills as well. So the card game is a really fun way to practice those principles. And I give these out to the top place on the game show. I sell these for $30. You can use them as flashcards. Yeah, I get a lot of people that use them as flashcards, but you can play them with non-medical people because they all have numbers. So your non-medical people at home will play with the color numbers, right? So they're going to get all the reds or all the blues or all the pinks because you're trying to collect a set. So they're just going to play with the colors and numbers. You would pay attention to the actual steps, what's on our banners. Okay, make sense? So, and I designed it because if you're at home, right, practicing, it's hard to get somebody at home to practice with you if they're not in medical, right? How do you get them involved? So that's why I designed the card game like this, where it works for medical, but it also can be played by non-medical people as well. I put a lot of time and energy into creating that card game. And it's really, really helpful. But yeah, you can use it for flashcards as well, because they're all the principles. This is the back of your ID badge. At the bottom, you'll see the practice room here. Mondays and Wednesdays, 1:30 until 4. So as long as you're keeping your ID badge, remember you have to have that to practice. The bottom of it tells you. It also tells you the courses site are for your CNA.com site for skills videos and the different study materials. This, if you remember, right here, this is the foundation of what we do, right? So if you had to sum up a CNA in 5 steps, we follow the care plan, the whole care plan, and nothing but the care plan. CNAs do normal principles. All those things guide our performance, tell us how to do the things. It's always about the patient, and we report everything to the RN. These are the 5 things that make a CNA a CNA. And if you remember this while you're taking the test, there's no way you can fail. It really is that simple. Remember, you still have access to the online course. You have access to this for 12 months. So if you've not accepted your invitation, I would do so. And if you have not gone through it, I definitely would recommend you go through it before you test. So remember that you have access to the course as well. So guys, even though today is your last day of class, oh my gosh, you've still got a ton of stuff available, right? You've got your book, you've got the online course, you've got the skills videos, you've got the website, you've got my email, right? You've got the practice test in the book. Just because we're leaving or you're leaving us doesn't mean we're leaving you, okay? We're going to make sure that you have the skills you need to be successful. All right, and we talked about the game show. All right, so now it's time to return your book. So I'm going to collect the yellow books, and then we're going to go outside and take a class photo. I'm going to sign off of YouTube first, and then we're going to take a brief break and do graduation, and the rest of your class will be practice. We're at the end. Yes. You can purchase it. I'm going to give you a secret though. If you buy it from me, I'm going to charge you a lot of money. If you buy it from Amazon, you'll probably get it a lot cheaper. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
If you guys don't have Audible, just sign up for Audible free.
Yeah, they have a free trial, like a 1-month free trial, and they actually have that book on Audible as a, so that it'll read it to you. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like an app that you can download on your phone, like Audible. It's right here on the front of it. Thank you. I really got that because I was like, it's getting you that one. Okay, thank you so much, Miss Patti.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm going to miss all of you too. Like I said, I just finally start to learn your names and then you run away. If you enjoyed this class, I would, and I haven't been asking. I mean, we've been doing this for 15 years and I've only got 49 reviews. Okay. I've got thousands of students that went through this class and I just don't ask for reviews. So I'm going to start asking. Okay. Yeah. So if you guys can give me a review either on Google or Facebook, either way, because I don't have a whole lot on Facebook either. This just tells other people that this is a program that you guys enjoyed and that you found valuable. And there is a lot to social proof, especially if somebody's looking at our program and they don't know us and they don't know what we're about or how we present the information. So I would like to ask you just to consider leaving me a review. That would be very helpful for me and I would really appreciate it. Those of you that are getting this on YouTube as well, if you wouldn't mind leaving us a review, that would be awesome as well. All right, so that being said, we're going to go ahead and sign off of YouTube. We have Class 8 review sheet on our website, on the courses site. You can go ahead and download that if you want to. Next class will start July 31st. I have 3 weeks off, guys, but I'm going to be redoing the skills book. So I have a lot of writing to do in that 3 weeks. I'm going to be locked in my office. For those of you on YouTube world, remember we go live tomorrow at 3 p.m. for a lesson and a question and answer session. And I hope to see you there. Until next time, happy caregiving. Congratulations to our class. We did a great job.